Good evening, everyone. Um, it's so heartwarming to see all this work. Dr. Varuna, that was amazing. I could feel your heartfelt passion for this, and that too in a government setup. It just warms the heart. We know a lot of people's work, but genuinely the ones who we don't know in depth is so heartening. And Ranveer, I knew what you're doing, but seeing it in numbers was again so exhilarating. So this is a good day, as Dr. Rishi sir said. It's giving so many positive vibes. I'll go very quickly. Some of the slides from Google to PowerPoint, they have got spoiled. So sorry for that. So I was told the topic is ability to fly. I'll be very quick. Instead of talking about what all we do in next 5 minutes, I'll just try to share how we do it, because most of us know what we do. So why is this photograph? This is a little girl who came to me 8 years old. She graduated, became a civil engineer, did a U-turn, did humanitarian work, and then did social work, masters in social work, became a diabetes educator, living with type 1 diabetes, now a core team of Udaan. So that is the ability to fly for me. 2000, nowhere to go. There was nothing. 6,000 average income, no doctor in 100 kilometers who knew type 1 diabetes, caregiver was not literate, monitoring and diabetes education unheard of, low life expectancy. But the sad part was not only by the person living with diabetes, the doctors in and around our region said they don't survive. Why are you bothered? They die. They have complications. Just don't bother. And that is what struck chord for me. And quality of life was not a topic of interest. And I'm talking 25 years back when I started my practice and I could not find living adults with type 1 diabetes in my region. And that is what made us think. Then I thought that why would in a hungry family somebody want to support a child? Why would a rural doctor want to think about type 1 diabetes? And why would the policymaker do that? With that thought, and this is a very precious personal photograph. This is my first group. This is in 2003, because I can see my 3-year-old daughter there. All these young, we were just a group of 15, 20. We called it Sahas. This is in the basement of my home. Posters and that banner has been hand painted. So this is where the journey started, in the basement of my home, wanting to support type 1 groups. And this is last year. This is in a stadium which we had to book. Dr. Bansi Sabu was there as our chief guest. And this was like 2,000 families of people living in villages of Marathwada with type 1 diabetes. So from that journey to this journey, very quickly I will go through what makes it, what happened. 3 words: localized integrated care. I was not in a government setup, so I didn't have the resources that backing. I was not rich. I did not have a whole backing around in any other way. So what we did first, medical supplies. Ultimately, you need medical supplies. We started with small funding, which means Sarda Parivar. I'm Agarwal Sarda. So Agarwal family and Sarda family had to contribute compulsorily for every child that we had. Then we did local fundraising, and finally today we have big CSRs. But we never compromised with optimum care. As you can see, these are my kids from the ruralmost villages using CGMS. So always from day one, whatever, even when it was NPH and regular, it was in the form of basal bolus. It was still monitoring. It was still education. So no compromise from day one. The reason I'm saying this, for somebody who's just starting, don't worry. Even if you start with 5, you start small, this is something one can do. Second thing was, who will teach? And Dr. Varuna just said, who is going to teach all these 2,000, 5,000 people living with type 1 diabetes in our region? So we created live experience coaches. And these are trained and accountable. A 3 months training program, which was very, very structured. And these people are still being the backbone of who runs Udaan. I am here because this entire team of 50 people is able to take care at every aspect of type 1 diabetes. Third base is education tools. How will the person in Uttarakhand or Kerala or Maharashtra learn? We don't have that many resources. So we had local context. We have dances, we have plays, we have nukkad nataks, we have every little thing under the mango tree kind of thing, online carb counting teaching, people sitting on a buffalo in a village learning carb counting online because a phone exists. Luckily, Maharashtra has a very good online system, and we insist that everyone has a phone. So, education. And very quickly, I will tell you where it reached and why it worked, what made it work. HCP training, we collaborated with the local pediatrician association, the government medical college, and the Zilla Parishad. So till date, it's more than 300 doctors trained. School reach out. Every child with type 1 diabetes has to go to their own school, talk to the principal, talk to the teachers with the posters, bring a feedback. So it's more than 600 schools already reached out. Government collaboration, I think next time I can give you, and that is learning from Sujoy. It is always inspiring that it has to be done with the government if we want to bring change. And finally, we now will have our first collaborative clinic with the government medical college. Udaan and government medical college is starting the first type 1 diabetes clinic next month, and I'll be happy to share that. Advocacy, lived experience, people are going in their talukas, their villages. We have a mobile van, and it's a structured feedback program. And every taluka pharmacist, schools, and doctors are being trained for early detection. So that is baseline training that's happening. Livelihood, all the way collaboration from Aurangabad is known for local industry. So upskilling groups. The reason I'm sharing this is whatever is required in the ecosystem of type 1 care can be sourced locally, can be done with collaboration with people who are living around. Mental health, we collaborated with a group called WISA. Then EIC creation, we have a medical college, we have a what we call it, school, filmmaking school, and a social work school. They are collaborating to make that material. Crisis response, people with lived experience run 24/7 helplines. So even in the remotest village, a child in DK is managed on phone with the doctor there, because the doctor there doesn't have keto strips, but the child with T1D who's in Udaan does have that. And we are managing that on phone. So we have a crisis response 24/7 by which we have not lost a single child in last so many years to type 1 diabetes. So 2,000 families, lived experience coaches, schools reached, hospitalization low, 42 talukas covered, more than 200 marriages, 300 safe, healthy, happy pregnancies. Outcomes are plenty. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm going to publish them. And this is a promise to Partha in front of everyone. Finally, and thank you, Breakthrough Type 1 Diabetes. They're giving us a grant to be able to look at this data. I told them there's too much work, and finally that is going to happen. So what has happened is, because it is local, because it is, so it has become replicable, sustainable, and scalable. And that is what we want to share with everyone, so that if you have a very small beginning, it can still be done in a local manner. What I believe is the plight that every child deserves to survive and thrive. And Udaan, in last 25 years, has shown that they can actually fly. These 4 young people you see come from absolutely low resource setting. Alcoholic father, child abuse, mother as a laborer. These all 4 girls, 3 girls and boys. Today, one is a nutritionist, one is a diabetes educator, one is a nurse and a diabetes educator, one is an engineer and a diabetes educator. They're part of my team. They are the ones who take Udaan and type 1 community forward. So that is something we would like to share. Thank you so much.